Bonjour, and welcome to the Amateur Detective Club. This club is exactly how it sounds. A bunch of amateurs talking about their favorite mysteries. So if you encounter a real mystery or a murder, contact the proper authorities. Do not come to us. We do not know what we are doing. But enjoy the program. Allons-y, let us begin.
Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour.
I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. I am Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm Miles Neuvirth, boy detective.
I am Tristan Miller. What is it, young dick or kid cop or
Sometimes both.
small detective?
Baby
Baby boy.
baby crime solver.
Baby crime.
Baby hero.
Is that anything like Boss
I
Baby?
can be your baby hero baby.
Oh.
Baby hero, baby. We have fun here.
So what?
We have
But
fun and solve
this
crime.
is serious. This is serious crime. What are we looking at today, guys?
Today we are looking at The Big Four by Agatha Christie. Yes.
The
Which-
big four.
Which must always be said, The Big Four. Right?
Yes.
That's how he does it?
That is
Always.
true.
Yes. So
You caught him.
I did. So we're listening to this one on Audible, again with our dear friend. What? Oh no! What's his name?
Hugh
Hugh
Fraser.
Hugh
Fraser.
Fraser. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hugh. Hugh, I just had a moment there. No, our dear friend Hugh Fraser, who is narrating this one, and we've been listening to a lot of David Suchet because we've been listening to a lot of short stories. So it's nice to mix it up. So yes, we've been listening to it there, and it's very, very good. And I'm the Secretary of Setting, aren't I?
Yes,
Yes,
you are.
Oh goodness.
That's why we're like, we just keep letting Melissa talk for an hour.
Yep.
Nope. Actually, most of this is crime, guys. So whoever
I know.
has crime,
I know.
sorry, you have to talk the
yeah,
whole
that's
time.
me.
Yeah. So I'll
I
set it
have
up for
the
you.
Wikipedia pulled up of plot summary right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was-
same.
There's a lot going on in this one. I
So-
did love it very much, though.
Oh, it's great. It is super great. There's just so many details. Well, to start off, we get Hastings back. So yeah, we do. So just to remind everybody, we've been back in time before Hastings' marriage to Cinderella, but now we're back in the timeline after the murder on the links, where he's been married and in Argentina for a while. And
Yeesh.
yeah, we had a little break and had a different narrator with Murder of Roger Ackroyd, but now Hastings is returning to England from Argentina after a year and a half and is planning to surprise Poirot. He's been chilling with his wife Cinderella on a ranch, and they've been having a good time. But when he...
An ideal life, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds great, actually. He comes back and he finds that Poirot is on his way to Argentina because he's been hired by an American named Abe Ryland, who had a ton of money and coerced him into coming on board for this case. So Poirot has been very reluctant to make ocean voyages, and it's really charming. They talk about
The
it.
sea, Hastings,
The Hippocampus.
My doctor assures me you do not die of it.
Yes,
but I do
basically.
not like it.
But he says basically he's going to make one voyage, and then he's
Yeah,
going to...
he'll never return.
No, he's going to settle in the Argentine and, you know,
With his friend
be
Hastings.
near his friend Hastings forever. Why do people like Hastings this much?
Well, I think it's this. Poirot doesn't have any other friends. I think it's literally just Hastings, and that's it.
And Inspector Japp, of course.
Well, I wouldn't call it. He's a colleague.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
He's like, Greg Grinaldus from Sherlock. What is it? Greg, what is it? The inspector and
Lestrade.
Yeah, Lestrade.
Oh, I see.
That's how I see him.
Okay. Well, at any rate.
But maybe they are friends, Melissa. Maybe they go and play backgammon.
Right?
I actually want to hear your full defense of the claim that they're friends. We're
Please.
taking it to court.
I want to see several drafts of a fan. What are they called?
Fan fiction.
Fan fiction.
fan
Yes.
fiction.
Yeah, of them
Like-
hanging out. Several musical montages.
Oh,
of
for
them
sure. Definitely.
running
music-
through the park.
So
Tossing
he
around
comes
vegetable
back.
marrows. So, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, would you like to come to my backyard and toss some vegetable marrows with me?
Play with my zucchini.
Oh,
I'm going to
goodness.
send you several emojis.
Well, guys, that's going to be a different podcast because we got a lot to talk about here today.
Yeah, please.
That's the professional detective club. that's exclusively for Miles Neuvirth, man detective. All right.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Poirot's been recently looking into a group called the Big Four, who he thinks are international criminals he suspects may be planning something on a very large scale. But so he kind of has an inkling to stick around, but no, he must keep his word. Only a matter of life or death could stop him from fulfilling his word and his mission. So, of course, they hear a clatter.
Someone has to die.
Yeah. And a man covered in mud, who's really out of it, appears in their doorway. And he keeps repeating Poirot's name and address.
Yeah, and he actually shows up in Poirot's room.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the only way into it would it be from the living room they're in or
The window.
the window. So he climbed in the window of Poirot's house looking for him.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't ring the doorbell or knock.
Yeah.
He just climbed in the window. It was very dramatic. So he's really out of it, but
Like that Beatles song.
mhm. Before he passes out, he scrawls a large 4 on a piece of paper. He also starts saying things about Li Changyan is number 1, and then starts spouting off not
Number
theories.
2.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah, this is so the doctor comes and is like, "Hey, what's happening with this man?" And like, "Is it brain fever?" And they're like, "That's not
That's not a
That's
real
not
a real thing.
Idiot.
Brain fever.
and so when he writes the Big Four, the doctor's like, it's he's probably trying to write 1414 again. And the doctor leaves, and he's like, I have a different theory. I think it's the Big Four, and that's like what snaps him into this monologue.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll talk about because technically
Suspect.
these are the suspects.
Yeah, the only suspects.
There's some other people involved in some minor crimes, but the big suspects this week, there are 4 of them.
Yes.
Number 1 is Li Changyan, and he's thought by some to be the greatest criminal mind currently alive on the planet. He's thought to be like in charge of a lot of unrest in the East in general right now, but anyone who tries to talk out about him is immediately like found dead somewhere.
Yep.
Number 2
I
is
find you dead, gavel sound.
is the woman, the woman of science, right?
Yeah.
Right. Number 2 is a woman. They don't know her name. They think she might be French, and
Number 3.
that's pretty
She's
much
number
all they
3,
know
right?
about her.
Isn't the woman number 3? Number 2 is the American.
Okay,
Yeah.
number 2 then is a man whose name they also don't know, but he's
An American.
the symbol they use to describe him is an S with 2 lines through it, which is the $sign, and also a star with 2 stripes. So they can assume he is the power of wealth behind the organization, and he's American.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that just be the symbol for an American dude, though, guys? I mean, seriously.
Ah! Dunk!
But and then number 4, all he knows is he's the Destroyer, is all you know about number 4.
The Destroyer.
And then the man kind of passes out again, and Poirot's like, I wish my train left tomorrow. Like, I want to know more about this, but I gave my word I have to be on a train.
Yes, so let me pick back up and say that they're on the train heading to Southampton, because... Let's go a little ASMR here. So they're on the train to London, and Poirot suddenly realizes that he is being got out of the way. And so the train stops. The train stops. Perfect timing. And Poirot has them both jump from the train, which is completely buck wild. And
Hastings, just don't look down. Just roll a little when you land.
it's kind of amazing. They jump from the train and go back, return to London.
The thing that gave me anxiety both times I heard this was, like, at first he's like, Hastings, jump now, and then it says Poirot jumps, and then and Poirot says, hand me the bags, and then jump. I'm like, what if he had jumped now when you said jump now? Then you wouldn't have your bags. Like, that's all I could think about when it happened. I'm like, what if he'd be like, okay, and done it, and then you're like, oh, there's all my stuff. Everything I had is gone. He's leaving forever. Oh no.
A very good point there.
And my investment portfolio.
Yeah.
A sock my grandmother gave me 9 pieces of waffles because I am Belgian.
I am Belgian. I have the waffle pieces.
Ooh.
They are sacred.
The sacred
We
waffle
worship
piece.
the waffles here in Belgium.
Oh.
Yes.
Fun. We have fun here.
So they go back and they go back to the house, the apartment. Yes, the apartment that they live in. And they find that the dude that had been trying to tell them something has died.
Yep.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that's where I come in.
Yay!
They suspect that it's murder. Next plot point.
You want to give us a little bit more? You want a little bit?
I mean, they call up the doctor. The doctor's like, "Oh, he died of natural causes." Clauses? Yeah, there's a clause in his contract where he had to died of natural causes. And then
It was the fact that every window in the house was open. They're like, "Oh, this was crime."
This was
Poirot's
definitely a murder.
like, "There was crime done."
And the person uses a poison. I think it's called yellow jasmine, right? Or
There's
is
like
that later?
some sort of like acid.
Oh, is
poison.
that now or is that later?
I think that's later. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was.
There's a lot of
made him
poison.
inhale some sort of poison.
Which doesn't really come up as anything.
Yeah, but it does leave behind a burnt almond smell, which is why they opened every window in the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Poirot, he just knows this for some reason.
Yeah. Then they also find his clock, which he knew was set to run for like 3 more days.
Yeah.
Is stopped on the number 4. It was like, this was a clue. He knew number 4 was coming.
And meanwhile, of course,
was the destroyer.
Hastings is thinking that it was something like, oh, well, he stopped the clock to make it seem like the murder happened at a different time. And Poirot's like, nah.
Hastings.
No.
We're dealing with a bunch of egotistical people here.
Yeah.
They want to get caught.
Yes, no, it's the destroyer.
They want it so bad.
So then
They want to get caught so badly.
they wanna leave their mark while still being mysterious and evading capture, but they have to leave their mark. The number 4.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be arrogant about it.
The number 4.
Yes.
All right.
So suspects.
Then they get a visit from a man who knocks on the door. He's like, I'm from
Right, I forgot
I'm from
about
the
this.
insane asylum. I hear you've one of my escapees here. He's like, oh, he's died. And the guy comes up, he's like, oh yeah, this is him, all right. Can't say I'm not glad he's dead. That's good. And then leaves, like doesn't take the body.
Yeah.
Like it just shows up and like basically to say, yep, this guy escaped from an insane asylum, and then leaves. And yeah, he was just like, apparently he was just described as like the quintessential guy who works at in sanitarium. That's it.
Oh!
That's it now.
But
Yikes.
But eventually Poirot is like, this is not right, and he calls the hospital and asks if there was ever someone in there by that name.
And they're like, no.
No.
What are you talking about?
and so it's
How do they find out? Oh, they find out the guy's name because he goes to.
Jap.
um,
Jap comes in.
Yeah, Jap has someone with him who's from the CIA or Secret
Service.
Yep.
Secret Service,
Yeah.
who comes in and looks at it as like, oh, that's my old pal, Jiminy.
Maerling,
My
but
favorite thing.
close.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the names in the book. I'm sorry, audience.
My favorite thing is just the line, "What's this big four idea?"
Yeah,
It's so
idea.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
I nutted. Like, I was just like, yes!
Idea.
What's this big four idea?
Yeah.
It's so good.
So yes, this guy Merling was a member of the Secret Service. He.
Mm-hmm.
So it
And he knew
seems
some
like
stuff
he
and
knew
had to
some
die.
stuff. So yep, there it goes.
Then, what happens next?
Then they go on a visit to a man named John Ingalls, who's a wealthy dude who has kind of a fascination with Chinese culture.
Right.
They go to his house and, oh, this is gross. He has a Chinese servant and it's like, oh no, dude, what are you doing?
I got a
Yeah.
sidebar here
Yes.
in regards to Hugh Fraser's performance.
Yes.
There's a fair amount of, like, Chinese people in this book, and he walks that line of, like, hinting at an accent but not doing an accent very well, at least to me.
Yes. I actually...
But I'm also not Chinese.
No,
so.
yeah. I thought about that as well because I was very concerned every single time a Chinese person came into the story because he does accents because, he's trying to differentiate between voices. But it never really did seem to me to be too terrible. So he does a good job there, I think. So yeah, he starts talking about Li Changyan, who he knows about, and Ingalls is surprised that they know anything about Li Changyan because he didn't think anyone in Britain knew anything about him. Every time Ingalls has encountered someone that knows about Li Changyan, they turn up dead.
Super dead.
Yeah. So it's very suspicious. So they ask, has he heard about the Big Four? And he says, actually, no. Oh, actually, just once, and he thought it was a scam. Some guy was saying, hey, I need some help. I need to get away from the Big Four. And I need some money to get away from the Big Four. And he thought he was being scammed. But now that he knows that this might be a legit real thing, he says, okay, great, I can take you to this guy. And he lives in a place called, I'm looking at it on the Wikia, and it's called, like, Hoppiton, like, Hoppaton. But it sounds, when Hugh Fraser says it, it sounds like Hobbiton. And I was like,
yes.
Oh, we're going to, okay,
we're
going to Hobbiton now?
Excuse me?
We're going to Bag End. Finally. Finally.
Is this the crossover that I hoped for?
I would read every book of a series that was someone solving crimes in Hobbiton. I would read every book of that
Well, I
series.
think the gaffer's hose gone missing. Somebody took it. And we have to find out who now, don't we? It's like the most banal.
Yes.
It would be like the cross between Hot Fuzz and Lord of the Rings we
Exactly.
all wanted.
What, you mean?
Mr. Baggins?
What, you mean Rory Appledore? No, he didn't do nothing wrong.
Exactly. So
what happens in Hippity Hopton?
we come and find out that Jonathan Whaley has been murdered, the man who wrote the note. What?
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh no, that's a crime.
It's a
That's
crime.
I have to.
Get in
It's
there.
my crime to shine.
Get in there, Kid Cop.
So, basically they go and there's been a murder. And they're like, well, what happened? And one of the manservants has been apprehended already, saying it's probably him.
Grant.
Because his boots match, because there's a bunch of boots prints. But then slowly they realize it's not him. Because basically what happened is someone was murdered and then a bunch of jade figures were taken. And so they assume that they're related in some way, but what it turns out to be... Okay, let me try this again. When they're in the house, Hastings is like, hey, weird how there's this just, like, leg of mutton hanging out in the fridge here, and it's still frozen, which is weird. And so they extrapolate from there that the guy that came in to murder them disguised himself as a butcher because butchers don't come on Saturdays. basically.
Yeah, but a butcher could like get in and get out covered in blood,
and
no one would
would think of
notice.
anything.
Or care.
Yep.
And so basically, the number 4 again, who is turning into quite the Andy Serkis level of character actor.
Yeah, that's something they note right away. Like when Poirot's like, I believe this was number 4, and frickin' Hastings. Yeah, I botched that number 4 pretty bad. Hastings like, well, at least we'll know what he looks like in the future.
Poirot was like, no.
I
And
don't
Poirot's
think
like,
so.
I do not believe so. There was nothing that stood out about him.
But basically, what happens is number 4 came in, switched boots, and he already. The manservant was a convicted criminal, and he made sure that he was placed in
Yeah.
the house.
He
to
got him the
perform-
job
yeah.
and gave him the pair of boots.
Yeah,
Yep.
so like.
So he had identical ones.
But yeah, so that guy
Exactly.
did steal the jade figures though, because he is a criminal, and he's like, well, if I'm gonna go, I might as well have this.
It's
Yeah.
also a
Which is
good
kind
red
of-
herring to
Yeah.
be like, oh, look, this guy, he must have murdered him for the figurines, but no, in fact.
Mhm. Yep.
Yes.
And that's kind of that.
That's like
That-
the first win Poirot gets against the Big Four.
Mhm.
And it wasn't stopping them from doing this crime. It was just stopping them from having someone else convicted for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Of course, the butcher was long gone, so they didn't get number 4 at this time.
Right. But the guy did get acquitted of the murder, so
Yes.
some good came of that, fortunately.
So
And
I think
then
it'd be NCIS Hobbiton, right?
NCIS,
Yeah.
NCIS Hobbiton, perfect.
Yeah.
NCIS Shire.
Oh, Shire,
That's fair.
that's gotta be it.
Someone's been murdering Farmer Maggot's dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the worst
Rips.
one.
Fang's dead now, and we got to figure out what happened there.
Oh, that's the saddest.
I'm
Maybe
sorry.
season finale. We got a real crime.
Oh
Yeah.
man, no. I can't handle dogs dying.
Somebody's been
In
stealing
anything.
Farmer Maggot's mushrooms. There,
That's much better. Thank you. No
Yeah.
death.
Well, the clues are he literally saw Mary and Pippin
Pippin
doing
do
it.
So what do you
Perfect.
suppose you want to do? Just let the boys have their fun.
Oh, get a drink. That's it. Head down to the dragon.
Yeah.
I love
Or
it.
the Golden Perch, which is closer to Farmer Maggot's farm.
Gosh, this is so charming.
Welcome to our new podcast where Tristan shows off his Lord of the Rings knowledge.
How do you not have
I've
that
been waiting.
podcast already? I mean, isn't that just all of your podcasts, though?
Yeah.
Somehow, ultimately. Yes,
What happens next?
Poirot and Hastings meet a guy named Captain Kent. And he's talking about the story of many U.S. boats sinking after a Japanese earthquake. And they think that it's linked to the Big Four because they have, this is so good, a beam of great intensity. This technology, basically, it's a laser beam or something. It's some
It was
sort
like
of
it used like magnetic rays somehow.
wireless.
I don't know.
Yeah, very, very supervillain-esque.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, it is the Big Four.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a British scientist called Halliday was trying to figure out what was going on, and then he disappeared when going to France, and
You know what they do there.
Yeah.
You know what that means.
Someone disappears in France.
It's in to put poisson. See.
Or they're murdered. But like usually the first one.
Your face was great. Tristan, you know better than that.
yeah. Are we bleeping that one, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I hate that
cool.
word.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear you say that. Oh,
Gross.
so disappointed.
But yeah.
So yes, of course he's disappeared, and
Into France.
and Poirot is saying no. I really don't think that it was a woman. You know, these British people. It can't possibly be that. He's probably
You
just
British people can't feel anything. How could you fall in love with a woman? I don't understand. You bury everything deep down.
basically. So he talks to Halliday's wife, And it seems like he had gone to visit the French scientist, Madame Olivier. Which is great, because she's a lady scientist, and that seems awesome, except Hastings has to be gross about it. And he says, I don't think that a woman could have a mind for such science things. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what, Hastings? You can
eat a bag of them.
Thank you. Perfect. Because I was trying to do that without saying something profane, and it just wasn't
really
happening.
Funny. Because, like, he mentions Marie Curie, like, in the same breath, and then goes, like, who could say? It's like... Marie Curie could. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, ladies can't do science. What?
My childhood is ruined. These lady scientists that bust ghosts. That Gust boasts.
Yeah.
Just yelling positive things about themselves.
Yes.
So
basically...
Yeah, but so...
He went and had dinner with her and then disappeared.
Yeah.
So they go to question her, and as they're walking out, they catch a glimpse of a lady with a veil. And as this happens, a tree falls down and nearly kills them. So...
Subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super subtle. So things start to get suspicious. And so Hastings is told by Poirot that Halliday was kidnapped when he was walking away.
Well, Halliday was... Because they go back to the woman that was in the veil, because Poirot is like, that no one innocent does that thing, and also doesn't blanch it to strangers walking into her home.
Right.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's... Werner Rasakov, who is apparently someone they've already encountered.
Yeah, which I don't remember.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll hear about her in another story we read. But...
I'm guessing a short story is where Vera shows up.
Yeah, and so they go and they talk to her, and Poirot is like, hey, I know you. You know me. The one thing that I can tell you is you got to be free. No, that's just the Beatles again.
Actually, though, if you do want to be free, you would tell me where Halliday is.
Yeah, tell me where he is. And basically, she calls up the people that are holding Halliday and is like, hey, he says the little Belgium knows. And then they immediately release him.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine having that kind of pull. It's amazing.
Having that kind of pull and being called the Little Belgian in the same breath, like
it's what I hope for.
Yeah.
Like, that's my goal. But yeah, that's pretty much what happens in regards to that. But
they also, while they're talking to her, she points out a big safe that she has, and is like, had someone tried to break into it before and unsuccessfully, or?
I don't remember.
All right, Poirot is like, someone's going to break into this safe.
Yeah.
We gotta go back tonight.
Madame Olivier calls them, I think, or they come back, something like that. But Madame Olivier tells them that some folks had broken into her laboratory to steal some radium. And so they come back and try to find the thieves, but they're ambushed by some shady characters. And... Then, subsequently, Madame Olivier reveals herself to be number 3.
Yes. Which I did kind of see coming. Like, as soon as it was like, oh, French woman. And when I was talking about them before I said a woman of science, they didn't say that explicitly. They said a French woman, and I believe the Big Four has, like, vast scientific knowledge behind them. And since we didn't know what number 3's thing was besides being a French woman, it made sense they were scientists to me. But yeah, they were one of our Big Four.
Yes, so now we know who 2 of them are for sure. So, as they're being kidnapped, of course, she has to kill them so that they won't interfere. But Poirot tells her that the cigarette he has a poisonous dart in it.
Yep.
What goes on here? And so she unties Hastings, who unties Poirot, and then they bind her and escape.
Yeah. And what's great is he's like, will you not permit me one last smoke? And like, so she
Right.
gets out the cigarette and hands it to him, and he's like, "This is a tiny blow dart, and in it is the most intensive poison.
I can't believe you fell for my cigarette trap.
My cigarette blow dart trap. It always gets them." I am Poirot.
I really, really want to see.
times.
I am the little Belgium. Watch out for my cigarettes.
I really want to see a dramatization of this one. I feel
Sure.
like this one is just rife with those very clever little like Poirot detective moves. It reminds me of Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yes.
It's like the Adam West Batman, which I love, and in
We
just
should
the
watch
best
that
possible
movie.
way.
World's Greatest Detective at Batman, Adam West.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yep.
But yep.
So
that happens. And
then Abe Ryland,
Abe Ryland.
the guy
The most
who,
American sounding guy.
Yep, Abe. Gotta name him Abe after our good old Abraham Lincoln, I guess.
Or
Shrug. But he's the guy who had hired Poirot to investigate his little case in the Argentine, and
Yes.
Poirot realizes that Abe Ryland is number 2, the American millionaire.
Yes.
So they find out that that Ryland's looking for a secretary,
I forgot about this.
and then Hastings applies, and he's posing as a man called Captain Neville, and he gets the job.
Yes.
So he goes and he's trying to, get in with Ryland. He becomes suspicious of his servant Deeves, and so then they go to what's going on here? They go to the quarry at 11 o'clock. This is such a convoluted book, guys.
Yeah,
so
this
much
part-
happens in this.
Yeah. This
So-
part was...
Yeah, Hastings
Because-
is spying on Ryland.
Because basically, Ryland dunks on Hastings really hard. He's just like, yeah, I knew it was you the whole time. That's why I hired you. Haha.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now we're meeting at the quarry at 11 o'clock to try and kill you, and also Poirot.
Yes, of course. And of course, Poirot has figured all of this out beforehand, but didn't tell Hastings everything so that he could play his part. I love it when Poirot does that.
It's a big part of this book and a lot of the books where Poirot's like, yeah, Hastings, I lied to you a lot because if I told you the truth, you wouldn't be able to successfully lie to other people.
Yeah.
So I need you to
Hastings-
believe the things you say so you can lie good. And it's so good.
Hastings, you're just not a very good actor.
It's true.
I'm sorry.
Hastings is just so... He's so
He's
earnest.
just so honest.
He's
He's
so
just too honest. He's just got too good of a heart.
I guess, except that he doesn't think that women can do science. Gross.
Well, he's never seen it, Melissa. He's never seen it, so he doesn't think it's possible. And that's what science is. It's observation, then conclusion. So,
Well, he's
there
not
you
very
go.
good at
By
it
the
as
rules
a man.
of science, women can't science. Obviously.
Well, neither can Hastings, because
That's true.
by those rules.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
But so yeah, Poirot
what
comes
happens
in.
next?
Poirot comes in and they ambush Ryland and his servant with Scotland Yard, but Ryland gets away, saying that it was all just a wager. And Poirot realizes that Deeves, this suspicious servant, was number 4.
Number
The
4.
destroyer.
Also, the Ryland in the quarry wasn't even the real Ryland.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
Ryland
right.
could have an alibi. It was number 4 doing an A Ryland, which
Yeah.
is excellent. Like,
Yes. So
Let me tell you here, fella. We figured I knew it was you the whole time.
Yeah.
It's that voice that I love it so much.
it's so great because
What's his
the
big four
American
idea?
the American dialect by British folks is just so amusing.
I don't
Sometimes.
believe in chakras or anything like that.
now they wait a bunch, right?
It's like a month
They just
later.
gotta twiddle their thumbs.
This goes on a really long time. This is
There
a
is
very long.
isn't this when Hercule like first mentions, oh, I might need to call in some help for this one, and first mentions Achille Poirot?
Yeah.
he does, at some point, I'm not sure if it's here or not, but at some point he does mention that, hey, by the way, I have a twin brother.
Named Achille.
Don't
Like,
all great detectives have brothers who are more brilliant than them, but also more damaged, so they do not have the fame?
Right.
This is mine. His name is Achille.
Achilles
Hastings
and
is like-
Hercules.
Yeah.
Achilles
Yes.
and Hercules. Very nice.
I mean, what a family. That's some good naming
My
there.
father, Apollo. My mother, Hermione.
So, yes, a month later, they're investigating the death of a Mr. Painter in Worcestershire, who had a bunch of servants who were Chinese.
Mhm.
And so they're suspicious of that. Do you have this one, Tristan? Because this one is... I'm drawing a blank on this one.
I barely remember this one at all.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't either.
The Wiki
So-
has a huge paragraph, and I'm trying to remember it.
doesn't
I
make
think
any
it was...
sense though. I've read it. And
Yeah.
it's like it just doesn't. I don't remember it happening.
I remember Yellow Jasmine existing.
And
Yeah.
that
The
is
next
it.
crime is way more interesting, too.
So I got it. I got this. I got this one. I got it. How
Okay,
about
great.
you read the Ronda Shawn fucking book? So
Cool.
So you guys cannot remember this part of it when you recap it later as well.
Yeah, it's not really as interesting.
It's not relevant.
Does the paragraph say they learn any useful
No.
information? It's just another crime?
just that the doctor who was there was also number
4.
Okay.
and he had given him the injection, and it was yellow jasmine rather than strychnine.
Oh right, this one.
This one's awesome.
Yeah. So a chess master dies next.
Oh yeah.
Or he died. Yeah. Like a young up and coming chess boy
Yep.
had challenged like an old chess grandmaster. Yeah. An old chess grandmaster, and the grandmaster had like refused so many times because like he was a recluse now, and people are like, it's because he's wanted dead by
Such and such.
by such and such and such. But finally, he comes to the point where he can't turn it down, and he challenges the younger man to chess, or accepts the challenge.
And the younger
Yes.
man dies.
Yeah.
Just eats it.
Right. Inspector Japp thinks he was poisoned, but of course Poirot comes in and is like, but wait. Use it, little Grayson. I have a little idea.
There goes Poirot with his little ideas again.
So
Not a big fan.
the younger guy, Savarinov was the name. Yes.
Yeah.
He had the match in his flat, and he had Wilson, the old grandmaster, had died, and it just seemed like, he dropped dead for no reason. But Wilson's body had a small burn mark on his left hand, and it was clutching the white bishop when he died.
Yep.
So yes,
RQ is like, electricity. And that's what happened. He got electrocuted
Yeah,
to
and
death.
what had to happen is he figured out the old grandmaster had actually been killed by the people who wanted him dead, and number 4 had taken his place.
Yeah.
So when he was getting this challenge, he was like, I can't accept the challenge. I don't know how to play chess.
Right.
So they're like, I have to, like, I can learn, like, because there's literally an unplayable number of possible games of chess, but like a lot of chess games start pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
So he could fake the first 2 moves as long as on the 3rd move the person dies. So by knowing where he's gonna likely move his piece, like when he put the bishop on one of the squares, the board, like it was a science board, and it scienced him to death.
electrified.
Coil hidden underneath
Yeah.
the
So
floorboards.
Yeah, because this guy, Wilson, had a pretty common open. Like, his open was predictable.
Yeah.
So they did it for that, and sure enough, he used the same open. And there he goes. It's so cool. It's just, I mean, don't murder folks, but
If you're going to.
But if you do, use science boards.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hastings gets a message that his wife has been kidnapped in Argentina by the Big Four. And he must
By who?
follow by the Big Four.
There it is.
Thanks. And if he wants to see his wife again, he has to follow this servant, and like he can't bring anything with him, and he can't leave any clues because they're watching him super closely. So he does the smartest thing that Hastings has ever done in his entire life.
This is
And yeah, he leaves 4 coals in the fire or something like that, and he puts 4 books on the table as a really subtle message to try and get Poirot's attention. And so they force him, when he's kidnapped, they force Poirot to write a letter to Poirot to lure him there. And Hastings is actually being very brave, but eventually he's very worried about his wife, and so he does all the things that they ask. And so they let him go outside to beckon Hastings into the house. And
to beckon Poirot into the house.
Oh, yes, thank you. To beckon Poirot into the house. And a man from Scotland Yard shows up and throws a smoke bomb into the house, knocking everyone unconscious. So Hastings, fortunately, is outside, and they're able to escape. And Poirot reveals that, in fact, he had Cinderella in a safe house, essentially, for over 3 months. And that they never actually really captured her.
Which is so nice.
Yeah.
What a considerate thing for Poirot to do.
Yes, and also, I mean, probably smart of him not to tell Hastings because Hastings.
Yeah. He'd be
But he does
you haven't
compliment
captured
him.
anybody. I know where she is.
Yeah.
And then he's shot.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Like, we have captured someone. It's you, Hastings. You idiot.
Hastings' ignorance saves his life so many times. But yeah, no, Poirot is actually very complimentary of Hastings when he finds out that when he's done all the clues for the books and the coals in the fire. He says that was a genius idea. How could I miss it? It was great. It was really actually quite lovely.
And now they're working to find the actors, and they get one. They find like one actor that it's very likely that it was, and they can't find him, but they find an actress that he was sleeping with, and
his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, his ex-girlfriend. And they talk to her.
Flossie, what's her last name?
Monroe.
Flossie Monroe.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
they talk a little bit, and at first she's like, "Oh yeah, I have a picture of him," and they're like, "Oh, you need to get us this picture of him." And she's talking about
a little habit that he has.
Yeah, a little habit that is, because Poirot's like, I've noticed like women are often like way more observant than men are, and she's like, I suppose, yeah, like there's this thing that I always remember that this guy, I forgot his name because I don't remember anyone's names, does.
Claude Darrell.
Claude Darrell does, wherein on his plate he'll like use his bread to like scoop up the crumbs of bread
on the entire table.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's
thank
pretty
you.
gross.
It's bad what you're doing, Claude Darrell.
What a weird habit, and what an obvious habit too.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
For someone who's supposed to disappear in the part.
I do want Andy Serkis to play him though.
That's fair.
Oh, of course. I'm glad we're
Always.
casting this movie that we're gonna make.
Duh.
Well,
I mean, like, Kenneth Branagh's got to get to it at some point, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it's
I
one
hope
of the,
so,
like,
actually.
There's like 5 big books. This is one of them.
I'd be so down for Branagh to make this flick.
Yeah, it would be pretty great. So yes, I actually got really attached to Flossie Monroe. She was kind of awesome. She was very quirky and charming, and they like take her out to lunch, and she has a really nice lunch and stuff. And then so she's gonna go get the photo of Claude Darrell.
And then immediately gets hit by a truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And dies. Just straight up gone.
So sad.
Like, they know that Claude Darrell's number 4 now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They go.
But they
But
still
she
don't
has
know
the
what he-
photograph with her, right?
Right.
No,
And
I
so
think she was going to get it, and they like search her
Oh, that's
house
right,
for
yeah.
it
Yeah,
and
they
can't
search her
find
for
it.
Yeah, they
Because
go in and
Claude
they meet
Darrell's
with
been through and be like,
Yeah.
you can know what I look like.
Yeah.
I'm a monster.
Exactly.
Bum,
Yeah,
bum,
Poirot,
bum, bum.
Hastings, and Ingalls meet with like her home secretary,
Mhm.
and so sorry, that's a different thing.
Mhm.
But they do. Poirot and Hastings do go into her house and look around, and sure enough, the photo is gone. And I think there's like a number 4 in the frame or something like that too, just to be like, haha, I got here first.
Yeah.
Killed my ex-girlfriend. I'm so smart. Jerk. What a jerk.
What a punk.
Yeah,
So now-
seriously.
Something really big happens. Can you take it away, Melissa?
Can I? I don't know.
We have to talk about how Poirot definitely dies in this book.
God, it's in
So
like
basically the temple
It's in-
thing is
sorry.
Templeton thing. It's okay. I'll do it. They basically they're at a hotel from my understanding, and then Poirot is basically like, "Oh, I see that Claude Darrell is here. But he doesn't know we know it's him, so I'm gonna
Right.
just try and bluff him." And then he's on a balcony in this hotel. Claude Darrell offers him a cigarette. Then there is a puff from the matchbox, and it explodes, knocking Hastings unconscious and killing Hercule Poirot.
Yeah.
Yep.
When Hastings comes to, the doctor's like, "Oh, you're better. That's good." And he's like, "Where's Poirot?" And the doctor just shakes his head.
No.
So guys, sorry, I guess this is the last one.
Yep.
Poirot's dead.
That's it.
We're
This has
done
been
with
a fun
him.
podcast.
And then Hastings solves it all by himself.
Good one.
But other things
then
do
there's
happen.
the series of attempts to get Hastings to just leave and go home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like they try and
Yeah.
like buy him out, and they try, and then Hastings like is trying to like figure out the crimes himself as best as he can, at least.
Which is not very.
Yeah.
It's really not great.
And then
because
also-
we do find out that John Ingalls has fallen overboard on his boat to China, which of course Hastings suspects to be Claude Darrell, number 4, of course.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Now this is a weird thing that happens.
Yes. So we finally get a servant comes and tries to get some information to Hastings in it, and he just spouts off a few Italian words because he's just been stabbed while having this message in his pocket for Hastings.
Yes.
So Hastings thinks that he said handles largo and carrozza, which I'm pretty sure is food. I think carrozza is like a preparation of food. And he says just a few Italian words before dying. And so he receives a letter from Poirot that was supposed to be given to Hastings after Poirot's death. And so he's given that and says to leave for South Africa as it's part of his plan. So finally...
South America or South Africa?
South America. Did I say Africa?
Yeah, you did.
Whoops. That's different. Sorry.
Right, so the
So,
thing
yes.
is, we're going to have to go and solve some crimes in Johannesburg really quick and just do it for the rest of our life. That's fine.
I know. How did that come about?
Yeah, so
No,
weird.
tells him to go back to South America. So the Big Four are saying,
What are you doing
they
here?
send him a letter being like, you're wise to go back. Hastings goes back on a ship, and it brings him to Belgium.
Yeah, no, when they're out in the ocean, they get stopped by like a destroyer ship, and they're like,
Yeah.
Hastings, we're switching you out for another guy. And then the destroyer takes him to Belgium. And so there's a fake Captain Hastings that makes the journey to South America.
Yep.
Yes, it's so good. So we get to Belgium, and we find
It's
Hercule.
Hercule. He sees him, he's like, you're not really dead, I knew it all along.
Yes.
He's like, yes, of course, I'm here.
So they're chilling in Belgium for a sec, but
Having
they do go off to
chocolates.
and beer and just all the
Waffles.
good
Yeah.
all
How dare
of those
they?
good Belgian things.
And Hastings gives him the clues.
Mr.
And-
Poirot, I gave you all of the clues.
Yeah, because of course he misheard, and what the guy had actually said was Lago di Carezza, which he had thought
which
was,
makes no sense to me. What is that?
It's a
it's Lago is a lake.
Oh.
It's like it tells him like there's the like meeting place of
Yes.
the Big Four.
Of what?
The Big Four.
Thank you.
Yes. But Lago does mean lake. Just incidentally, so y'all know, I know Italian words. Yay!
We all have a thing. I bring up Lord of the Rings. Melissa brings up Italian words.
And Miles is a boy detective.
Okay, I am getting exhausted. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah. So they
Okay,
know where
we're
it's
getting
gonna
there.
be.
We're getting there. Yes. So they go to this cafe, and there's a man at a table who's fiddling with his bread.
That sounds bad.
Yep.
Is that man fiddling with his bread? He's gonna get
That
a
would
yeast
look
infection.
Ew.
Nope.
But yes.
Nope.
But all part of Poirot's plan, and the lights go out because, of course,
They
number
do.
4 has detected them, and Poirot and Hastings are knocked unconscious and dragged away, taken to the headquarters of the Big Four in a place called Felsen Labyrinth.
I do want to point out there was a moment where Poirot was like, Hastings, this is the end. Don't come with me. Like several times, and Hastings is like, of course I'm coming with you. What are you talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there they find Ryland, Olivier, and Claude Darrell, number 4. But Li Chengyan is still in China. And later, their old friend Vera Rosikoff comes in, because she's been hanging out with the Big Four.
Like you do.
Not so great, Vera.
Yeah.
So, but how does this come about? Because
She's like, this isn't Poirot, and rips off his mustache because it was fake. And then it turns out it was Achille the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And Hastings is like, and then I saw something that I think I subconsciously knew the whole while. And it was Achille. And he's like, yes, this whole mountain's surrounded. And the reason I'm in here is because Poirot's on the outside organizing the forces.
Yep.
We're going to catch you. We've done it.
So they retreat to their laboratory, and Vera starts to bargain with Poirot.
Yeah.
And Poirot says that he can bring his dead child back to life, and that she says that she'd save them if he could do that. And she's like, "This is impossible because he's dead. How are you going to do that?" But of course, Poirot knows him to not be dead.
Yeah, it's like, pull the photo out of my pocket. And she does, and she's like,
Yikes.
let's go. Like,
Yep.
yeah, the thing is, like, I can get you anything you want. Anything you want, I can get it for you. It's like, you can't get me the thing I want. And it's very dramatic and really, really well done.
Oh, it's so good.
And then she's like, all right, let's go. Because
Let's go.
the Big Four are like, we're caught. We're going to bring down the mountain on all of us. We're gonna Samson this stuff.
For sure. So
yeah.
the 3, Vera, Poirot, and Hastings, run out of the mountain just as it explodes. But of course, Poirot reveals that, in fact, Achille does not exist.
Yeah.
Never existed. And it was Poirot Hercule all along.
Oh, yes.
It was one of those things of like the minute he mentioned Achille, I was just like, oh, that's fake. That's a load of
Yeah,
that's a
seriously.
crock
Yeah,
of
see,
crap.
I had the thought, but I also wanted it to be true so badly. Like, I knew, I did know it wasn't going to
But
be, but I
here's the
did
thing.
want it so bad.
Here's the thing, though. Like, traditionally, when there's twins and there's an evil twin, the evil one has a mustache, and the
Yes.
other one doesn't.
Oh,
Thing is,
Does that mean
But they're both
Poirot
good.
is the evil twin.
is the
Yeah.
evil twin?
Yeah, and so the difference is, like,
Definitely.
he had
Contacts
gray
in.
eyes, no mustache, and he had, like, a scar on
A
his
scar.
Which Poirot
Yeah.
just did.
lip. Yeah, he just shaved his mustache, wore contacts, and just
Cut his
cut
face.
himself.
Cut his lip. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, that's some dedication, Poirot.
Mhm.
Pretty good. Pretty darn good. So, yes, the Countess gets her child back,
Yay!
and newspapers reveal that Li Chengyan has committed suicide.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a moment
And
where
then
Hastings
he's
is
sad.
like, oh, yeah?
So, no, Poirot's sad because everything else will seem boring.
Yeah.
Comparison
He's like, maybe
to
now
the
I will
thing.
find a wife. Go to the country and grow vegetable
Marrows
marrows.
with my
Vegetable
best
marrows.
friends, Captain Jack. We're going to throw zucchini at each other in the back garden.
Yeah.
Hastings, are you coming?
Yes.
There was a moment where Hastings like, I definitely could have died under that mountain, and that doesn't seem very fair to me. And then he remembers, oh yeah, Poirot did tell me a lot not to come.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's
buck
just
wild.
it's so good. It really is. Guys, remember when we were doing, the Mysterious Affair at Styles and Murder on the Links, and we were like, oh man, there's just so many characters. This is so difficult.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And then we thought the Murder of Roger Ackroyd was even more convoluted.
Welp.
Agatha keeps
then we got
down.
this one.
Yeah, but she.
Oh my
This
goodness.
was so good. Okay.
It's very
so good.
reminiscent of a lot of old serials as well, of an organization going after world domination, which is really kind of fun and something really unexpected. And not bad, but I prefer the little cases myself.
Sure.
Because that's just who I am as a person. I want to know where the mushrooms are. You know what I'm saying?
I think
Yeah.
this is my favorite one to date because throughout the book it was like a series of small crimes and sometimes it felt like the short stories, but they also all did build up into something a lot bigger. And I think for me that was just ideal. Like it was the best of both worlds.
It was super great, and I think I did like Murder of Roger Ackroyd a little bit better, but I've totally broken my scale, so who knows what the ratings are going to be. It'll just be how I feel today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because my rating system is not going to be on a curve. It's just gonna not make any. I can't try to compare and contrast with other ones because I totally broke everything.
Yeah.
I would say if you did a Poirot series, which I know they have, but if they did it like a series and did seasons like we do in America, this would be a full season. You have a series of small crimes that lead to something bigger.
Yeah, this would
for
and then
sure.
the end would be the season finale, and but you would get these 5 major crimes as an episode each throughout the season.
Exactly.
Riddled in with other stuff.
Yeah, which would be super dope.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I would say this is an 8
it'd be great.
out of 10 to a 9 out of 10 mustaches.
I am gonna go the full 10 mustaches on the Big Four. This is
Whoa.
Yeah, this is my favorite one that I've read so far. It pretty much gave me everything I wanted.
Yeah, I think I'm at an 8 for this one as well.
It's just more...
super great. The convolutedness actually made me like it a little bit less.
Same.
But it's still fantastic. It's still really, really wonderful.
Sure.
And I loved some of the moments. The whole Hastings kidnapping thing was brilliant, and basically anytime they got captured, it was really fun. They get captured a bunch in this one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then also I really enjoyed I did how do I say it? I like how grand it was, and then I also like all this I do like all the elements of it. It's just also one of those things of I need that space just in case something is a 10 out of 10.
Sure.
There can be more than one 10 out of 10, but I need to
for sure.
I need that little room there. So it's a 9 or 8 or a 9. But it is really convoluted, and it was hard for me to focus on it because it was so convoluted.
That's fair. And there was a part of me that was daunted while reading it, just because I got a third of the way in and realized recording this episode was going to be very hard.
Yeah.
And so that
absolutely.
But I know if that hadn't been the case, I would have just adored this. So yeah, it's my my first 10 out of 10.
Great.
First 10, amazing. No, yeah, it got a little. I was hoping to listen to the whole thing twice.
Same.
Because life happened, that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I was able to listen to twice really did get clarified for me. But woof, that second listen through is really key, and it's just. There was a lot of details.
Oh, there's one moment that I loved so much that I want to talk about just super quick. And it's a moment where he's we're going to go on the train, and we will get off early. And he's like, how will we get off early? You can't just stop a train early. He's like, you can if you have money. He's like, you're going to bribe the train? He's like, no, there's a little sign. You're going to bribe a train? No, you're going to bribe the train driver. He's like, there's a little sign. If you pull the emergency stop code, you pay this fine. I will pull this card, I will pay the fine. That was one of my favorite moments. I just wanted to talk about it. Okay.
Oh, that's really wonderful.
Yep.
I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah. It's a good book.
Good book. Highly recommend. Don't be distracted while you're listening to it or reading it, though, because if you can't devote your attention to it, it's gonna get a little challenging. Alrighty, so I think that means that this meeting is adjourned.
Gavel sound.
Jacques!
Oui, pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, la journée pour la fille. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat.
Hey Tristan,
Hey, Christina.
do you like anime?
I don't know.
Do you like me?
Yes?
Do you want to watch anime with me?
Yes?
Do you want to make it into a podcast?
Yes?
Great!
What's it gonna be called?
It's called the Animazing Podcast.
When it comes out?
It comes out every Saturday. Bye!